Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Shobo. Today is Thursday, April 18th, 2024. I'm joined by Mr. Cat, Ollie Cat, Sleepy. He's here behind my head. Dolly Cat is, of course, under my bed, as per usual. So, updates, things, what's going on around here? I am in some amount of soreness and pain in my legs because yeah, I had to do a bit of squatting. I had to bend over quite a bit because we had a clogged toilet, clogged by, unfortunately, a bar of fancy soap that fell all the way down. That was irretrievable, yet still clogging the toilet. Yeah, so I had to use an auger snake. One of those things you put the big thing in, big metal snake we call it. It's just a long string of metal that can coil up, and at the end of it, at the handle side, you can rotate, and it rotates, and it goes in there, and it spins inside of the pipes. Well, ideally, just inside the toilet part, just to help clear things out. I was working on that. That took like close to half an hour, and it was a very messy affair. But I got it cleared eventually. I did get it, but now I am very sore from all of that. Yeah, it was some fancy soap, and yeah, it was not dissolving in water. I would imagine that this particularly fancy soap was unfortunately made with oils that are not water soluble, which is awful. Which is not good, because normally regular soap, you would think it would just dissolve maybe in like a day or two, and then everything is good. No. Not this. Not this thing. Not this thing. It was just a wad blocking the toilet from flushing and having stuff go down. Yeah, messy, but it's clear now. It's great. And then I look over at the faucet to the sink, and then I see, oh, it's dripping. So yet another thing to fix. That's gonna need a trip to hardware store after I figure out what part I need. Because different sinks have different parts for the handles. For what I can tell, that it's there's some sort of an O-ring that is probably worn out or something on one of the handles. Inside one of the handles, one of the flow regulators is letting water through, and it's dripping. So I gotta figure out. I have to figure out which side is leaking, take it apart, figure out what mechanism it uses for flow regulation, and then get a new one. Remove the old one and put the new one in. Yeah, fun times. Fun times. I also have to, I have to unclog the sink and the tub in that bathroom, and in the other bathroom too, the tub, because the flow is slow in those. Ah, boy. Yeah, great. Mr. Plumber, man. That's what I'm becoming, Mr. Plumber, man. Mr. Handyman, in general, there's lots of stuff that needs to get done around the house. Lots of things need fixing, some of which I don't think I'll be able to do. Not myself. Like anyone feel like replacing a skylight for free? Like actually properly installing a skylight for free that's not going to leak all over the kitchen counter? That would be great. That would be great if we could have someone come out and like just do that for free with all of the parts and stuff included. That would be fantastic. As well as fix one of the like multiple all of the other leaks happening with the roof. That would be great too. There are more than one. Yeah. How's your guys' days been? Because that's not going to happen. That's not going to get fixed until it literally destroys the house. At this point, essentially, there's no money to fix it. There's none. There's no money to fix these things, so it's just going to go until the house is unlivable, and there's nothing we can do about it. Unless we can somehow manage to come up with like 5 to 10K to redo the roof or more. Anyway, stuff and things. How are things? How's Kitty? Sleepy. 3D printing's going. Sold one item this morning. First one in a few days. White Nintendo Switch tray. Got all of the eBay listings updated for the new colors, the orange, the purple, and the green. So all of that is now up and live on eBay, and I have the listings for the original Nintendo storage trays and the EA Sports Sega Genesis cartridges trays. I've got those listed as well on eBay and on Etsy. So everything is updated now, which is great. Which is great. So, that's that. Games? Updates for games? Yeah, updates. This is like off kilter. Updates for games. It's not like Boeing yet, which is great. It's not doing the thing the other one did at the moment anyway. Hopefully that's gonna stay that way. Printing it with a thicker line width. It's a thicker shell on it. So games. Yeah, new banner released in Honkai Star Rail. New pair of banners, which includes Aventurine and the rerun of Jinglu. I got Jinglu. I got that character. It was painful, but I got that character. I have Jinglu now. I am thinking about whether or not I will continue to use polls on Aventurine's banner. I don't think so. I think I will just straight up skip him and save my polls for future banners. There are just a couple characters that aren't necessarily required but would be good to have that are both coming and rerunning that I might be interested in. Of course, there's a certain fire destruction character that will release eventually that I'm interested in a bit, as well as the rerun of Argenti, a physical erudition character that does a lot of AoE damage and has a rather powerful ultimate attack that is a true AoE and hits everything. It would be great to have him for pure fiction content for enemies that are physical weak. Would be great for him to rerun at some point. That'd be nice. Would be not so nice if it's next patch, but because I would like to have a patch where I can just save. I would like a patch where I can just save for 6 weeks. All of the free pulls, but and my monthly pulls. That would be nice, but yeah, something tells me they're gonna rerun Adventure. They're gonna rerun Argenti. Why are there so many characters with A's in this game? Anyway, that's Star Rail. Azure Lane just updated today. They had maintenance this morning, like overnight this morning. So I have a bit of oil that I need to spend in that game. Yeah, I have like 4,885 oil and counting. Yeah, 4912 that I need to use at this point. The event stuff ended, which means I can actually really go back and push content now. Correction, not push content. Farm for 6-4 for the super rare ship that drops from there. It's like a 0.75% chance to drop from 6-4 on each run, and only from the boss node, which is great. It's fantastic. But yeah, that's one of the best ships that one can get, that one can farm in the main campaign. And I would like to have that ship. In fact, I already bought the ship's retrofit material because I plan on using it. And want it to be very strong. I want it strong. Anyway, so that's Azure Lane. I am continuing with that. And then AFK Journey, also continuing with that. I finished the content of Chapter 3. And am currently gated on access to Chapter 4 by my level of my characters, like the residence level of the account, as well as the advancement in the AFK stages. I believe I need to get to 745, and I'm at like 707 right now. I need to push to 745, and I have 2 more characters that I need to advance with essence material in order to reach the 150 mark for the resonance level. Right now, resonance is 140 total. But in 2 days? 2 days. 2 days. Maybe by end of day tomorrow, I will actually hit that. But then the harder part is actually pushing to the AFK stage 745. That will actually be more of a mission that may require advancing other characters again up to the level 160 mark, but we shall see. Also, the boss is about to die, the big world boss on my server. The Lone Gaze Wolf, big wolf boss, is gonna die soon. I am in the top 200, so I will get a title and a bunch of other rewards for that. But I will not have my name permanently recorded as beating the boss, because that only goes to the top 20. Who deal the most damage in a game where you can literally pay to do more damage. So, no, that's not happening. Anyway, I just hit quit game. Oops. Continue. Continue this game. There was a couple bug fix updates to the Pi suite that I applied. The Factorio. Yeah, this is a game. This is definitely a game. And a wonderful thing. Yes, I am live. Thank you, notifications. Thank you, YouTube, for telling me that I am in fact live right now. What did we do last time? Well, I don't even really remember. We set up Kickalk ultimately. as a way to get into fiber, because we're like working on getting into circuits. Now, I had said in like that my plan was to get manure, but we didn't end up getting manure because my plan at the time was to set up augs with aug food, and aug food needs plastic. And I was waiting for tech to happen for getting a better plastic recipe. The thing about the plastic recipe I was waiting for, though, is that it sort of needs manure to make the melamine to make the plastic. And we're sort of doing this to get the melamine and the melamine resin, just in general. So I've let time pass here. I've had the game running. I've let time pass. I've built stuff again in my inventory. I've accrued 2,000 circuits in my inventory, so if I need to build infrastructure, I will have some. I've also pre-built another... I've built the infrastructure for another one of these arrays, and I believe that I will set this up right now. I'll have to tap another ore patch for the ore for this. You know what? Copy. Overlap and paste. That sounds like a much better idea to maintain spacing. I just have to get over there. Because I'm pretty sure I pre-built all of the correct infrastructure for all of that. Because we could use a bit more power going forward. And while I was doing that, I was continuing with my plans, and I have ultimately decided to not use the aug food recipe, despite setting things up to potentially do that, and setting up like the Faugi and all this other stuff. Just because I don't really want my plastic to have that dependence loop at the moment. I don't want my initial plastic production to be dependent upon making more plastic. It is absolutely a thing that I can work around. I can guarantee that it will never not work. I can do that. There are ways. And I can do prioritization with Train Supply Manager to guarantee that the aug food will always preferentially get plastic. That is a thing. But do I feel like doing that right now? No. Honestly, no. And frankly, it will be faster to just set up the basic augs at a output that is more realistic for my current needs than to go out of my way to make more than I need in the more efficient way that is not even going to be useful yet. So that's where we're at right now. So I will set this up and then almost immediately move on to setting up the augs, because I should have enough infrastructure rebuilt for the augs. It's not a great way to route this if I ever need to upgrade that particular intersection, but whatever. Oh yeah, the power poles. Those need to be built and connected to my grid. And then with manure, we'll work on getting into the Zogna and the urea, so that we can get into wonderful things. We ultimately want this. All this stuff here. This is what we desire in life. But we also need plastic, and I want plastic from melamine. Is it 2 to 1? Great question. So I actually want it to be from that right now. It is 2 to 1. Oh, Mr. Cat's running away. We got the pest control dude here. So he's gotta run away. Mr. Cat has to hide. Someone he doesn't know is around. I had planned on making a separate facility for Zogna bacteria. Did I ever make a just petri dish? I have agar and I have petri dishes, empty petri dishes, but I don't have actual petri. That's fine. Combining them will be easy enough. That's gonna alone eat 2.2 manure. My plan here is for 5 total, and the circuits, the Formica is going to need 8. Where's the other 2 going? Oh, up here for the batteries. So that's going to be another set. And there's urea for the resin. Wow, that's 9. What? That's 9.5. Oh, the cyanic on batteries. I see. Yeah, that is a little bit of an issue, isn't it? Huh. How much more do I spend using the... Where's the button to toggle? Control left click. How much more do I spend overall? That needs 4 total manure. I'm out of coffee, dang it. But it adds a more than a belt of copper and zinc. Nah. Nah, man. Nah. That ain't happening. That is not happening. So the issue of all this is that this 0.8 is going to need 0.8 plastic, and that 0.8 plastic adds additional melamine. 1.6, which is going to push us to 10 manure per second in total. So my little plan here on the Augs is going to need to be doubled. That's the thing. That's the interesting part. So the plan here, the plan here needs to be doubled. My concern is throughput on the native flora in particular. So I might have to do this at a source of Omnite and make the native flora locally, despite having 75 per second on my trains. Unless I just want to add a bunch of extra trains. So the other thing I need here is, yeah, that no longer needs more stuff, I think, because all the 13 here should be full. Yep. All right. Just add fuel. And we're off. The belt is not connected. Where? Oh. No idea how that happened. It should have just been straight. How did it go one tile left? Like, I drew a straight line. It's not supposed to move when you're dragging. Odd. I guess I released the button. Bots delivering new things. I think I built, yeah, I built enough of the long paddocks for this. My concern will be moss. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I only built the 15 moss per second, so I will need more. Where is the moss? There. There's the moss. As I said, I'm pretty sure that this is 15, so I will need to scale this now. Aluminium. Time for some more aluminium. I feel like I always have to like top up on soil extractors and washers because they like to get eaten by things. By other things. Like, it's one thing for a building, for a building's material requirements to require the previous mark level of the building. That's fine. It feels more like you're upgrading a more primitive building to a more advanced building. Going from Mark 1, Mark 2, that makes some sense. Needing other completed buildings to make a different building is just mean. when those buildings cost thousands and thousands of ingredients at times. Multiple hundreds at minimum of units of plates and things. Like, it's ridiculous. Alright, this will be another 15. See if I even have enough stuff. Dues. At least there's enough room here to add more. Even more. It's just gonna take a minute to physically craft the things. I'm gonna probably just let that go for a sec. Oh yeah, you need the that. You're not moving yet. Come on. There you go. It's alive! Oh good, I do have more than one train. That is necessary. Oh boy. Alright, well, that's gonna have to be good enough for now, because I'm not gonna sit here and wait. Not this time. Okay, Augs. I'll import the dang native flora. Come on. There we go. Alright. Manure. Manure. Oh, I didn't bring any barrels, did I? Nah, I didn't. And I'm too far away to grab. Oh well. It's actually safer to be on this top line, so I don't go walking across all of them. Okay. Well. With my water. Well, water, well. Stuffs. Four. That's a bit too much space between these, but whatever. That's where the barrels will go in. The empty ones. Oh boy. Augs. $46 over 2 is 23. The cat has run. Right, he ran away. So cat is probably under my bed now, in front of the head of the bed, or at the head of the bed, just because he was scared. He was scared. So 12. Yeah, we're not fitting 23. So we'll have to do 48. Yeah, we'll have to do 48. So we'll have to do 4 of this. And then pray that I can fit another thing of this, or at least another set of 4 lines. Because in particular, we need, we need 2 belts of stuff in for each line. And I need to be careful of throughput because of long-headed inserter shenaniganery. Like, yes, this is fine. And this is technically fine. But I think I would much rather... If I'm going electric, I should go all electric. Autosave is autosaving. And I should, like, add... power poles. Oh, hey, it actually just flips. That's not really what I need, but it is gonna be fine. Because I need to actually flip the inserter orientations. And unfortunately, I can't just put ghosts over to change the orientation. I have to manually flip them. It's odd that you have to manually rotate them once they're placed, and that you can't just use a blueprint to change the rotation. Very odd. So, obviously, yes, we can double. Which would mean I would need another set to stop here. It's not this throughput that's the issue. Although I am gonna need a, I'm gonna need a few barrels. I'm gonna need just a few barrels. That's definitely gonna be something I need a lot of. Oh, I apparently need more AUG in my life. But that should be easy enough. It's just modules I can grab off of my bus. But at least I know that I have the buildings to do a build like this. So this will give 10, which will be exactly what I need for the circuits alone, without any extra plastic for any purposes other than the circuits. So, in case you were wondering, yeah, I am very likely to double this again. And add another factory identical to this, just copy pasted, probably right below it. That is highly, highly likely. Essentially guaranteed. Because that will mean I will have, that would lead me to have enough manure to make enough melamine for plastic, to have extra plastic for use in my mall and other areas. Because as it stands, if I want to have 5 plastic on hand, yeah, that's 2.2 manure, but that's 2.2, and I need 10 manure total going into the circuits. Because this 2 melamine here on the batteries, and the 8 that I need for the resin in particular, like even if we ignore what I need for the plastic here, it's like, okay, well, I need 9.556 beyond plastic just for the other stuff for the circuits on their own. And on top of that, I would have normally the melamine on the network, and the resin on the network, on the train network, with factories making these things, and urea provided on the train network, and Zogna provided on the train network in separate factories, and antimony oxide produced at greater scale than this. So, yeah, to say that I need to double this is probably an understatement. I likely need to triple this in order to do all of those things. That might be the plan. I'm also going to need to grab all of my barrels from this container. And I need to walk down to Augs. I need some Augie Woggies. As my bots bring me a whole bunch of belt. And yes, by doubling to tripling the Augs, yeah, that's gonna mean I will need even more moss. Yes, I will need more moss. Thank you for noticing. And more native flora trains. Ah, goodness, because yeah, we're talking about potentially looking at this. We're talking about multiplying that by 3, which is more than I'm making right now, and multiplying that moss number by 3, which is more than I'm making right now. Just something to think about, because I can't really make the native flora locally here without a source of Omnite. Like, I could belt Omnite, sure, from probably over here, but yeah, I can't both make moss and native flora that I need. The moss and the native flora that I need, considering that the 15 moss is this. That it's this all here for just 15. That might fit, but then all of the like 18 native flora would be another. It's like, well, that's this. So the question is, can I get this and this in a square? But that's not even enough, because that's just 15. I need 18. I could get enough, perhaps. I could get half of this. Again, I could get half of this. And that would be enough. That's just 30. Actually, I would need another one of those lines for the 36.3. But I think it is theoretically possible to fit enough local production on the native flora and the moss. I think I could fit it in. And like belt in the Omnite. What am I thinking? What am I doing? What am I really doing here? Alright. So that's what I really need from you. If I tuck you in up there, and I grab this guy, can I shift you down like over here and fit another in here? The answer is I can. Huh. Neat. And I think I can feed it with like one compressed belt of Omnite. Whoops. Oh my god. Okay. Get Augs. That's what I need right now. Didn't want to do it local. I'm doing it local. This will save on train throughput dramatically. But, yeah, I probably don't have all of the infrastructure for it at the moment. And it will take a bit of time. Hello, Augs. Augs on belt. Am I close enough? Yes. Okay. I have 2,400 Augs. How many do I need for just the one build? 364. Okay, I have enough. I believe that I have enough. Of course, I'm not going to build the 3x today. That's not happening today. I will consider doing it in between streams if I have the willpower to play the game between streams, which lately I have not. I have not had the willpower to actively engage in the stuff in playing this game in between streams. I let it run. That was fine. I pushed a few buttons. I finished placing the buildings and the thingies here for those. Like, I might have the willpower to copy paste a thing, but I'm not designing things. I will not be making new designs between streams. We're going to experience all that together. Because I'm... my brain is, like, fried with this experience at this point. The whole rail transition, my brain is just fried. There's a reason I put that it's gonna be infinity days to finish the rail transition. Because yeah, at this point I'm even questioning whether or not I want to continue streaming just in general. Huh. Why? Let's see. So how much do I need? 36.3. Of the... I'm looking at the wrong thing. I need that. So I need 45. That is the equivalent of 3. $45 is fine. $45 plus 22.15, 67.5. I may reroute these belts to be the other direction. I should not have enough moss farms to complete this. I definitely don't have enough moss, as it seems. There we go. We are out of moss farms. However, I will know that since I'm doing this local now, I don't actually need to have the moss scaled. Oh, I need more pipe. Great. I don't actually need to scale the moss. Interestingly enough. Oh. Yeah, power would be pretty nice. Why, yes, this is a mind-numbing experience. I have to fight right now, every fiber of my being, from telling me that it doesn't want to do this. Right now, my brain is telling me that all of this is super tedious and boring, and it doesn't want to do it. It wants me to stop what I'm doing completely and not touch it again. Ever. And I'm going back, because I need pipe. Then I'm actually... Oh, that's not that many. Is that at least 13, 11, 11. $35? No, that's not even 35. Okay, well, there goes that. Am I making... Okay, I'm not building. Not building small parts. We're just gonna keep on crafting that stuff. Actually... Yo, gimme. Also, gimme. Yeah, that speeds things up a little bit. Just a smidge. Just a little bit faster. Alright, then what I need. What do I need? I need to go back. Yeah, who knows? My brain just doesn't... It's not into this game right now. I don't know if I just want to do half streams going forward or not. Also, I have yet again so I didn't provide power to the thing. It's like, oh, I have yet again not connected the thing. I did connect the thing. It is there. Yeah, I need moss. I need moss modules. Yeah, we're close enough. I can just grab more. Should really cut this in half. But like figure out how many buildings I actually need. I need 91 total. Each one of these is 75. So at what point... Oh, great. So I get to take a line off the bottom? Because, yeah, that's 90, and I need 91. Wonderful. I mean, I guess I could trim off the end until I'm left with, like, 50. So I could trim this on each one. That will help, actually, quite a bit. Does that still reach? Of course not. Clean up all this stuffs. Can I tighten this up a lot? Yes. Will I? Probably not. Hey, there's the fuel. I'm doing this primarily, one, to save on the infrastructure, but two, so that the fuel is distributed properly, evenly. Oh yeah, you need CO2. So I have to provide that. I need to provide the CO2. Yeah, that's a thing that I'll need provided by the network, train network. At least I know I have enough. I has enough. That much I know. Okay. Decompress a little bit. Give things a think. So this is 50. Making 10. Okay. Makes 10 flat. How many lines do I have? 8. And I have planned this so that all of the moss and native flora are sharing lines. Across 24. And I'm seeing that that was incredibly dumb of a decision. I'm seeing that that was actually really stupid. I shouldn't be doing that. What I should be doing is providing the native flora exclusively down these single lines, and then the shared belts need to be moss and water barrels. Yeah, the shared belts need to be the moss and the water barrels. So yes, it's now logistics time. I guess I need a replacement here with a fluid input. Oops. Carbon dioxide, get thine ass over here. There we go. So now the moss should be moving across the board. Ish. Okay, let's not forget to do this. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da! Yeah, one slight issue. Go down one tile so that it's aligned with all the others. Okay. Next. This will be a little weird. Everything's gonna be a little weird. I need to run quite long belts. Excuse me? Yeah, just don't. Just don't with all that BS. Alright, that's the native flora. Going down the lines. And it should... oh. Yeah, it should be more than enough. There should be like 45 here, and it's going to use 36.3. Which... I know that I don't have... At least I don't think that I have enough Omnite to supply the full output of all of the machines that I need the Omnite for, but I believe that the demand of those finished products will require within 75 Omnite. I think it will be within 75. God, I hope it's within 75. Alright, it's gonna be a little bit easier to send stacked where I need it, so I don't run too many extra belts. I'm gonna run this combined belt of stacked all the way down and up this line. So that we get to the water barrels up here. Speaking of water barrels, toss all those in. I will need more. I'm pretty sure. All right. Now, the funner part. I will need to destack combine like so. Oh my goodness. We're here. We're here. We've reached the end. The manure. Oh my god. They're moving. They're actually moving. The bowels are moving. And they're giving me their manure. Manure. Supply. Depot. Full cargo. Circuit condition. Manure. Manure. Holy moly. That sucked. But we have, for now, survived. I am not done. This makes more than... yeah. Ah da 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 dee dee da da do 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 dum. Now we're good. Now we're done. Oh, boy. It's a good thing I check things before leaving. Is that would have been really bad. That would be really bad. Really, 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 really bad. Uh, I'll let things take their time to equalize a little bit. The buildings here need to fill up with a stack of 500 on the input ores before I make a determination as to whether or not this is actually enough. But hey, the manure is moving at 10 per second net. For every time I need more manure, well, I can just grab the whole thing, plonk it down somewhere near a source of Omnite. Unfortunately, the way that this is built, I can't necessarily have it be local Omnite because it will cover up most Omnite patches I think that I've got here. Looks like that one might be good to go in this location. That does not block the Omnite, and I can run stuff there. Let me grab like the whole square and then rotate and then plonk. So that way I know my intentions over there. And I am going to need another one. So again, looking for a place where there is an Omnite that is not covered, and that is great. This will be the Omnite for you. And this, of course, is the Omnite for you. I just have to route it to here and to here, which that's easy enough. So yeah, that will be another thing that I need to do, but we're not doing that during this stream. That's not ideal. We have manure existent, and that is a much bigger deal than having enough for all of my future plans and schemes for the moment. All right, will we continue after the break? I guess so. I suppose. All right, what's next on the agenda? Now that we have the manure. Ideally a urea factory. Or let's do Zogna. Let's do a Zogna factory that makes 20, 30, 50? Depends on how many lamps 50 uses. Unleash the Zog. Two and a half is more than I currently make. It's also more petri dishes than I'm making. What is the empty petri? 5. Yeah, exact. So yeah, we're making 20. There's also a bunch of wood too that I don't really have. Right, so we're making that. I have the buildings. Yay. Yay. does not need to be at a source of Omnite, which is even better. Where is my landfill? Give me the landfill and fill up the land. Or like fill up the water with land. Destroy all water and replace with land. Oh boy, that's gonna be a lot. So was this, but this one's less. This one is smaller. Don't have enough landfill to completely fill it in, but we will use what we've got. Oh. It would appear as if I actually do have enough. Weird. I'm not used to that. Hello? Not used to 150k lasting this long. There it goes. Yeah, still need more to completely fill that in, and then the entire lake will have been landfilled. Then we got to work on like this guy at some point, and this guy down here maybe next. Although I'm not really building down this way, so this lake is probably going to last a while. You know, the shape of this desert almost, it reminds me general outline of the continent of Antarctica, how it's got this little spike thing coming out of it. You know, just skew it sideways. Sort of looks like the outline of Antarctica from here. Let me see. So we need a factory spot. Is that a factory spot? In here. That, however, is my alarm to indicate that I am halfway through today's stream. So now that we've gotten manure, it is time to take a break. When I come back, we are going to build this Zogna factory, and then a urea factory, making at least 30 urea. And then we get to make the melamine. Melamine factory. Yeah, we get melamine. We're making melamine. I might do more urea. Like, I think 30 will use exactly 10 manure. So I'll just need to bear in mind, again, that I will need to scale the urea again to double, at least. That's going to be fantastic. I'll need more lamps. I'll need more empty petri dishes. I'll need more wood. Yeah, like, I need more of all the everything. But for now, it's time to take a break. I'll be back in a few minutes. I have returned. Welcome back. So yeah, Ollie is absolutely under my bed with Dolly. She stayed in her spot. She's still comfy in her spot. That her nice little bed that she's made out of my stuff under the bed. She's made herself a nice comfy position in a little chamber under there. So she has her den spot. So Ollie has to go someplace else under the bed. There's a section at the head of my bed, under the bed, among all the stuff that I have under there. There is a clear pathway from one side of the bed through the other that they both use as a walkway to walk from one side to the other. So he's in that spot. He's in that area under the head of the bed. And yeah, so he's just laying there looking. He was looking at me. I could see his eyes were open by the eye shine. I could just see him from his shine of his eyes under there. It's like, oh yeah, he's there. He's there. Scaredy cat. He's such a big kitty, but he's a scaredy kitty. Anyone he doesn't know comes through, he's gone. You will not see him or her. Neither of them are okay with other people. For whatever reason, they were socialized before we got them, but you know, we got them during COVID, so not like they really got much socialization after we got them. That was the one thing we couldn't really get them, was familiar with having other people around. So they just scatter. But we do have other people around. Alright, we're here. Is he gonna come down? Is he gonna come visit? So when he does come out, because Ollie will usually be the first to come out most of the time if they both have gone out of their way to hide. When he comes out, he's going to be very lovey-dovey. He's gonna be like coming to me, rolling on the ground, wanting lots of attention. After the scaries. After the scaries, he wants attention. Lots and lots and lots of attention. Will be very, very demanding. And it's the same whenever I need to vacuum the carpets. It's loud, it's scary. They go hide. And then when they come out at the end, he gets all lovey-dovey, he gets rollies, starts rolling on the floor, wanting lots of attention. Alright, let's see here. So I need 3. And we're making a fluid. Cob, and we are making a fluid here. Ummany mummany. Where am I also doing something like this? Oh? Why? Why you no go? Huh. Alright. That is fixed. There is something that we built the other day that was like this. Providing a fluid. What was it? The molten lead, I think. Yes, that's the one. That is the doohickey. So this will be S Zogna. D Zogna. We are importing empty petri dishes. We are importing agar. And lamps. Well, agar, and petri. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 of Yui. And 3 of Yui. Oh. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. I do say that is much better. Oh yeah, wood too. Wood is good. Wood is nice. We need the wood brought in too. Bring me wood. Okay. What is the throughput here? High. That is what I'm going with here. I could have just run the line on the other side since this is making a fluid. Oops. Well, as you can see, there is plenty of room here. Plenty of room for scaling additional Zog. There is room for more Zog. And we will need additional Zog. Eventually. For now, we're good, though. For this moment in time, we are fine. S, D, roll cargo, circuit ignition. Now, this is 2,500. No, this is 25,000. 25,000 divided by 20. 1,250 seconds. This takes nearly 21 minutes to fill one time of simulation time. So we're gonna say fluid count of Zogna greater than or equal to, let's say 2,500, factor 10 difference. That is 2 minutes. A little over 2 minutes of production going into that locomotive, which is, generally speaking, what I prefer to have set. I would rather not have my train sitting and waiting for half an hour plus, or 20 minutes plus, just to fulfill one order, one request. I'd rather them move and be constantly moving and not successfully providing enough stuff around the entire base than to give more than enough to one thing while other stuff is idle. I don't want there to be idle stations that aren't receiving input. Thank you so much for following the channel on Twitch. We are finishing Zogna now. We have made our manure for urea, and now that we have Zogna, we can actually get some urea. Urea! Need 30 for now, before I need double that. There is wastewater. And blood, of course. But there is wastewater. Do I have enough? Now I do. And I need more. What am I missing? Lead! Lead plates. Gib. Oh, because you're eating my 40k tanks. Great. That's why they need lead. They eat my 40k tanks. Wonderful. Anyway, so that's the urea. It needs the water. Otherwise, that's that. It uses half of my Zogna production and all of the current manure production. Half and all. And I will need to at least double this, so I will need to build one of these at least, and I will not need to change the Zogna bacteria because I will have enough for the doubling of the urea. That will be 60, and that will ideally be enough for my current circuit plans. Hopefully, that is enough for my current circuit plans. I'm looking at things here and seeing that this will give me some extra ammonia, but I really don't have any need for it. As ammonia right now. I'll need ammonia for this. as part of rare earth processing, and I'll need the ammonia alone for the vanadium eventually. Goodness, I really... There's no other process for getting into ammonia until chem science. No alternative method. I could spend Molly. Yeah, that's not a great idea. And you can't... The eternal struggle of the desulfurizator being here. Yeah, the struggle of the desulfurizator being at chem science when the Faugi upgrade tech is Pi 2. Oh goodness, yeah. I don't have they changed that yet? Has that been fixed? That's been something I've brought up every single fricking time I've gone through Faugi. Yeah, no, of course they haven't. So the competitive acidosis upgrade gives you access to a recipe that lets you convert Faugi into acid gas, Faugi and sulfur into acid gas, which is great considering you can get your sulfur out of Faugi too. There is an atomization recipe that lets you convert Faugi into sulfur, so you basically get Faugi into acid gas, into sulfuric acid from just Faugi. These being one of the easiest to build, though it is a lot of buildings, it is the easiest to build. For mushrooms, at least. So it is, generally speaking, the option I always go for, because it gives me very easy sulfuric acid. I don't ever need to think about how I create sulfuric acid once I get this. The problem is that I can't use it until chem science, because this recipe is made in the desulfurizator, which we don't get until chem science, even though this tech upgrade is Pi Science 1, the tech before that. So yeah, you can't do anything with this tech, really, until the next science level, which sucks. It's awful. I don't know why it's a thing. Like, why would you make it? Or Pi Science 2, excuse me, not Pi 1. Why would you make it so that it is unlocked at Pi 2, and yet I can't use the stuff until chem? So either that recipe needs to be moved to a different building that you actually have access to, or it needs to also unlock the desulfurizator by picking up that upgrade. Like, one of these two things needs to happen, because the desulfurizator can be built now. If I had one, if I had the ability to build it, I could build it now with the resources that I have, because it's not a high-tech building. It is based off of this current tech, Mark 1 stuff. So it's just really weird that it unlocks that late when there is technically the ability to get a recipe that uses it before chem science. Anyway, this. Need a factory position. It does not need a source of fuel. It did build correctly, yes? Yes, I think so. Off we go to build the things. Yeah, I'm totally gonna probably build both of these between streams and do all the scaling that I've been talking about in between streams. Probably. I've I've been waking up as we go along. All right. Let's see, is all that placed? Good. As a general reminder for folks, don't just randomly send messages to people who are streaming while they are streaming, or like ever, if they have not like told you to. Just a general reminder. Don't do this thing. You will be ignored. If you want to chat, do it publicly. Don't chat privately. Unless you have explicitly been told to chat privately. I no longer respond to private messages, just in general. If you have a question, I'm going to answer it publicly. You know, I did that by muscle memory. What I really wanted was this. That is what I wanted, right there. And I guess it's every 5 is a belt, so... So, to answer the question that I got, streaming is fine on this day. Very tired. I am very tired. It's every 4, not 5. What am I thinking? Just the usual. Bit burnt out on playing this game, just in general, but we're chugging through, slowly but surely. More slowly than surely, but oh well. So that's the manure. Whoops. And this is the Zog. Have I mentioned I hate building the manure? Among several other different factories in this entire experience, manure is one of the ones I look forward to the least. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just big. Like every time I need to build something from Pi Alien Life in one of these massive buildings, I just don't look forward to it anymore. It's just, I find it completely tedious and boring. Essentially the entirety of everything that is related to Pi Alien Life, I just don't like it. I don't like the builds at all. I find them exceedingly tedious and overly huge. Like this is 10. Like this is 10 manure. This all of these, all of this stuff here is giving me 10. There are some things where it's actually worse than that, but anyway, hello. Welcome to the stream where I'm ranting and raving, as per usual. Whoops. That needs to go back. There. That's better. Okay, that should be the urea. Oh, I didn't define Zog. Define the Zogna. Ah, we are at the point where I do need more barrels. We are barrel limited. Oh god, how would I fix this? How would I fix this? Step 1. Fuck water barrels. Yeet them completely from the game. Pipes, for the love of God. Water, fluid, into the building. Step number 1. Of many that are going to be required to fix this shit. Literal shit, in this case. Step 1, across the board, every single building, every single stupid-ass recipe that needs water barrels. Just eliminate that entire concept from the experience. Every barreled thing. I should not be required to barrel full stop. I should not be required to cage full stop. That is another thing that needs to be completely removed. The entire mechanic with the modules, creatures as modules, should be stripped out from the beginning. Like, just completely removed. All of the life module shit needs to be removed from the game. And everything rebalanced around not using these. They've caused more issues than the fun that they've created. The lack of fun that they've created. They have, in fact, created negative fun with these modules. just across the board. And that would be a start. That would be a start. Yeah. They look nice, but there is no fucking reason for these to be, you know, 14 by 14. The only reason why these buildings are so big is fuck you. That's why. That is the only reason for all of the alien life stuff to be this large. In fact, this building used to be smaller. Probably made it bigger. Went out of his way. Redid the art, made it bigger. Did that for a few buildings, actually. Redid them and made them bigger in the process. Yes, am I mad? Absolutely. Because I constantly see changes to the game that make the game worse being added into the Pi Suite when I just want it to be better. And they go out of their way to make it worse. It makes no sense to me. Why would you want to continue restricting the people who actually want to experience this? Like, why do you are constantly go out of your way to actively deter people from wanting to experience this? I will always be from the perspective of we want as many people as possible experiencing it and having fun with it. So anytime I see things that like goes against that, that does not move it towards more general audience, it annoys me. And yes, that does essentially mean an easier experience overall. Yes, it does. That's the only way you're going to get more people playing this. Like, you're already asking enough from people to go through all of the thousands of factories that you need. All these thousands of items you've added into the game. Like, you've already got the complexity. Why do you keep making it worse? Why do you keep adding more and more and more and more and more things? Like, why do you have to keep slowing things down? With thousands of items, they should be going quick. With the volume of different types of items that you have, the issue shouldn't be like making 0.1 of each. Like, we should be able to actually feel like we're playing Factorio here and make belts of things without massive factories that look like this. That doesn't even make a belt of output. Like, sorry, this should be making way more than just one belt of shit. Literal. Not even. This doesn't even make a belt. This makes 10 net. When operating at 100%. Which it's not, because I don't have enough arbitrary fucking barrels in here to give them enough water to move. Even though I have enough water production, I just arbitrarily need to have thousands of empty barrels in here. Like, screw that. Give us a goddamn pipe connection on all of the buildings. And for the record, Pi has said no to this multiple times. Like, this is something that has been requested by many people many times for a long time. And yeah, the official thing is just no, fuck you. So I'm just gonna say fuck you back. And complain about it until the end of time. Anyway, things, stuffs. I will never think about manure again because I've now built a build for it that I can repeat multiple times without having to actually design the thing. And I'm probably not going to really complain about it again. Because from here, it gets easier. Like, I have no complaints about, like, late game alien life stuff. That's actually useful. The late game alien life stuff is fine. It's fine. Late game, the issue is that you're going to lose 90% of people before you get there. Like 95% of people are going to be gone well before they get there. So like, huh? How does that make any sense? Anyway, we now have urea. Did I actually... Yes, I have done that, so we need to define urea. So now we can move on to melamine. How much melamine? Well, the melamine itself won't use that much. If I make 10. In a previous playthrough, I went out of my way and I built a combined factory between melamine resin and melamine and provided both onto the network while providing like a belt of each. But I think that was also a little bit later in the game where I had easier ammonia access. As well as alternative cyanic. When do I get alternative cyanic? Next science level. Where I can convert meat into cyanic. And when do I get... It's all at the next. Great! It's all at this one. Why isn't there some sort of a atomization recipe for ammonia? I don't know. Oh yeah, Tholins used to be decent. That got kicked out the window. Utterly defenestrated. Now the only reason to ever make Tholins is to get science. That's it. Just the amount that you need for science. And nothing more, nothing less. They used to be useful, and now they're not. Because you didn't used to have to launch a rocket to get Tholins. And now you do. And my biggest fear of what their next expansion is going to be is that it's just going to be more bullshit. And no fun. More bullshit with less fun. Congrats. There's your next part of the pie suite. In a nutshell. There's my review without even having to look at it. More bullshit with less fun. Taking things that were fine and making them worse. And making them not fine anymore. Going out of their way to develop things, change them, make them more complex without actually, like, thinking about what they're doing. anyway. Melamine. Oh yeah, I've got the... There is the urea ammonia that is actually better. So in the next tech level, I will have access to cyanic from meat and ammonia from urea. And this ends up being more reasonable to me than making tons of urea to feed all this, to feed the cyanic of this. It's just better this way, usually, because by that point, you'll have the meat, like, spare to give to this. The meat is not actually an issue. And even then, if you had the ability to just get meat without having to go through the, you know, again, changes made for the sake of making changes to make things more difficult, when you slaughter, you get all of the parts. So you end up with excess of a whole bunch of stuff. Like, okay, another change for the sake of making that change to make people void more. Just, you know, used to be I could just get what I wanted from the process here. I used to just be able to slaughter and get formic, and that's it. Just end up getting formic, and no byproducts other than the cage for the creature. It would output the cage and just give formic. We had that ability, but they took all of that away for no real good reason outside of just, you know, wanting people to use the full rendering recipe. Because there was no reason to have the full rendering recipe, so the logical conclusion to people not using the full rendering recipe was to remove everything else except for the full rendering recipe. Because that made sense. It's like, oh, they're not doing the thing we would want them to do? Or they're not engaging with the mechanic? Let's remove all the other mechanics that they're doing instead and make them use this mechanic. That's been the mentality. Anyway, we're not doing this process because we have to do this. Why does it need me to set an unrestricted item when they're the same? When they're both used the same amount, in the same quantities. Now, adding things to science to make people engage with the mechanic for science, that was my idea. And I shouldn't complain so much about that, since it was literally my idea for them to do that. I think it is the best way of all of the alternative options to get people to engage with mechanics that they don't normally engage with. You have to make it part of getting into science to engage with that mechanic. But for the things where you just couldn't do that, they're like, oh, well, how are they actually doing this? Let's remove that to make them do the less efficient thing. Thanks for making the game less fun. One of these days, I'm gonna need more fuel. That thought occurred to me. Any other broken lines? Not right now. I do this from the map view because there are times where it's hard to see what I've missed when placing rail like this. And it's much easier with the purple ghost tiles in this map view. Gotta remember to connect all this. Autosave is auto-saving. Like, I've basically decided at this point that this is probably going to be my last Pi playthrough. Regardless of how far we get, this is probably the last one I will do. Yeah, just in general, probably the last one. It's not fun anymore for me. It used to be fun. I used to enjoy it. But for a while now, I have not been enjoying it. Nowhere near to the same degree as I used to, and a lot of this has been driven by changes that have been made to the Pi suite. Things that were fun being changed to no longer be fun. Like, I just don't care about further expansions to the game. To this experience. Why would I bother getting into space when the experience to get to that point is bullshit, tedious? Because that's what the next part is going to be for Pi Suite, by the way. For those who are unaware, next part of Pi Suite is basically going to be a space exploration type of thing. We're going to space! You know, sort of like the Factorio expansion. Oh. I need these guys. There have been plans for this from well before the developers announced the expansion. So yes, it does predate the initial thoughts for it. Definitely predate the announcement of the expansion. Like they were working on like making different mark levels of the rocket silo back at Pi Alien Life phase. Like Pi's Patreon, he totally posted pictures of the in development stuff there. Did I not do something between alternative energy and Pi block? Did I not go to do something else between that? It was just straight to Pi block. That might explain a few things. This being the third playthrough in a row is definitely grating. But I know exactly how many people do not watch any other content besides Pyanodons mods on this channel. So I'm not really incentivized all that much to do anything else. Oh yeah, there's another. Pi block was productive pi. It was productive pi block. It was pi alternative energy. And then productive pi block. And now this. OmniPy. I thought that OmniPy would be a little bit different. Turns out it's not all that much different. It is a bit, it is slightly easier. I will give it that. It is a slightly easier experience. Still super tedious though. Yeah, well, here's Melmine. Yellow Belto Melomine. And yes, I need it on the train network because I will need it delivered to the mall. The agitator needs melamine. That guy. That building right there. In order to make the agitator agitate, we need melamine. Yeah, in case you are wondering why in my previous playthrough I did a productive Pi block where I made everything productive and could transmit productivity, it was exclusively to avoid essentially all of the Pi alien life stuff at the end of the game. Do you realize how much time I saved? And how many factories I didn't need to set up? Like huge ass factories I did not need to actually set up. Because I could cage and uncage with productivity and get net output of creatures by putting them in cages and removing them from cages productively, instead of having to make them in their buildings and reproduce them with reproductive complexes. Do you know how much time I saved by avoiding all that? And how much more fun I had? It was nuts. I had so much fun, actually, towards the end of the Pi block playthrough, when I had access to modules and module shenanigans. That was fun for me. I had fun doing that. I had fun giving the middle finger to the game by doing all that. That was enjoyable. The issue here is getting to that point again. Super tedious and time consuming. Pi's mid and late game, once you get modules, it gets better. It gets better by the end. It actually gets somewhat reasonable by the end. For your factories, that like your output from your factories actually ramps up considerably at the end of the game. The problem is it's at the end of the game, and near the end of the game when this is happening, there's other things about, you know, why are we getting Mark IV stuff essentially after beating the game? Like where are we getting the best buildings after we win? That doesn't really make sense. But they're they don't scale it well early. They're like, oh, we want there to be an improvement over time. Yeah. Still doesn't justify that much infrastructure at the beginning. It still does not justify the scale of the start. Yes, I understand that would also mean that you would have to actually work to modify your code for how the scaling works for the late game stuff. I don't give a shit. It needs to change. Because yes, part of this obstinacy is laziness and not wanting to actually change the numbers. Not wanting to actually, you know, balance the game. I can understand not really having time. That's fine if it will take time, but don't just say that you're not going to do it. Because it's absolutely needed. The early game needs to be rebalanced. Full stop, particularly around with Pi Alien Life. Like, Pi Alien Life needs an overhaul, extreme overhaul in particular, and a lot of the speed of production must be changed. Mostly across the board. And infrastructure costs need to be reduced in general. If Pi can get, if the team working on Pi can get those main things done, this would be an epic experience. It would be absolutely amazing experience. You can just smooth out this part of the game. The early periods of the game before you can get into Mark II stuff. Like if we can really just make that smaller and balance out the scaling, doesn't matter if the Mark II, 3, 4 stuff isn't as strong. If the Mark I stuff is usable. Like I think that even if we needed half the infrastructure, I would still want Mark II and Mark III and Mark IV stuff. Like, I would still want to upgrade, and I would still want to do more advanced recipes, even if this was halved. Like, oh god, does this really need to be halved? And in some cases, more than that. Some cases, maybe not halved, but definitely a lot of the Pi Alien Life stuff. Oh yeah, we can get away with having these factories. Or, like, you know, getting twice the output for what we have here. Like, that is definitely, like, top of list of things to look into. Like, how do we cut down on some of this initial build size? Because as nice as big builds are, they're super freaking tedious to build, to actually build them. Ah, boy. And no, I do not think that it is unreasonable to want 5 circuits per second at this point in the game. And to build out a factory to make that many circuits. Actually, isn't it Augs? Isn't it Augs? There is one turd upgrade that removes water. It's either Augs or it's Ulrich. One of them removes water. I'm pretty sure it's Ulrich. Or Vrauk. Actually, it's Vrauk. Vrauk have an upgrade to remove water barrels. They are the only one. Only Vrauk. And I'm never going to pick it because option 2 exists for productivity. So, fine. You gave an option for 1. None of the others. Anyway, resin. Melamine resin. How much of that am I going to make? 5, I think. I think I'm going to do 5. Oh, but I'll need formaldehyde first. How much did I need for that? 20. Okay. Don't think I need 50, but yeah, that really. That's a few. I don't have methane either, do I? Do I have methane on the train network? No, I don't think so. I don't think I've moon dropped. Yeah, revert Tholins. Like, just full stop. Make them usable, please. Having to launch rockets just to get Tholins was, like, one of the worst things that they could have possibly done. Like, what? So Tholins existed primarily as a way of getting a trace amount of a particular ingredient that you may not have at a specific location, or the ability to get at a specific location. It was meant as a way of helping to ease the logistical burden. And then I started streaming the game. And I looked at Tholins. And I thought, hey, you know, they make some pretty useful stuff out of Tholins here. You could get acetone out of Tholins. You can get ammonia out of Tholins. It's a lot of power to run Tholins. They use a lot of power. That's the compensation. I'll just use Tholins for a lot of this. And so I used Tholins for a lot of that on my first playthrough of the game. And then wouldn't you know it, Tholins got completely destroyed and nerfed into oblivion. With Pi Alien Life. It's like, well, wouldn't you know it, in the very next addition to the Pi Suite, yeah, that was killed off completely. Another instance of, oh, he's doing X instead of doing Y. Let's destroy X to force Y. Thanks. I need Moondrop. Let's make a few Moondrop. We should at least have some time for that. Why is that 279? Sure. Again, with the scaling thing. Whoops. Don't want those. Want these. Pipes. Give me pipes. In fact, store more. Like, I get it. It's a simple, really simple recipe, but where you just add water and you get stuff. Like, yes, I understand that it should be more buildings than the other processes. I'm making 5 net output here. There is 0 universe where it is acceptable that this volume of output needs 279 buildings. Sorry, but no. Nuh-uh. Not okay. In the slightest. That is actually not okay. Particularly when each building also needs 16 modules. Let's not forget that little detail. Where am I building this? Well, I'm gonna have to build all the way out there, so may as well be here. Can I even fit this many in a single square? I better. I better be able to. But again, this comes back to how strong the late game scaling is, and that there's frankly too many mechanics to strengthen late game Pi Alien Life stuff. Because you have the buildings get mark levels, and with increasing mark levels of buildings, you get additional module slots. So you get more modules at higher mark level buildings. That's one scaling. Number two is you get more complex recipes to make the same thing that are both faster, they're more complex, and they have higher output per cycle. So you get more per cycle faster through more complex recipes. So that's number two. So you get more complex recipes and you get mark level of buildings. And then there's also mark levels assigned to the actual modules. So you also get more speed out of running higher mark level modules, as well as more of them in the higher mark level buildings, running more advanced recipes that are significantly faster with significantly higher output at the end of the game. And these three things are extremely strong by the end of the game. They are exceedingly strong by the end of the game. And so what's ended up happening is that in order to keep the end of the game somewhat reasonable, they have had to make the early game absolute dog shit. Because a lot of that is percentage scaling. A lot of it is percentage-based scaling going into the late game. So they've had to make the initial values absolute garbage so that they could have reasonable late game levels without it being excessively overpowered and strong. It's still pretty strong and overpowered at the end of the game. The issue is getting there, and you're pushing so many away. Pushing so many people away by the sheer scale needed at Mark 1. And yes, I think that absolutely there should be less scaling, and that the early game should be brought up to actually make the experience playable. Like, please pull back a bit on that scaling in the late game by removing creature modules, full stop. Have the buildings scale their speed with increasing mark level. You can keep the complex recipes, the more complex recipes, those scale fine as they are. And bring up the initial speed of the buildings. Make the initial speed faster by like factor 2 at least of what it currently is. Or more. I think a lot of things need to be like factor 4 increased. The issue then is that you run into the issue with the, like, more complex recipes. And just a more general thing with Pi is that you do get more complex recipes, access to more complex recipes, even with the Pi smelting, the ore processing part of it. You get access to more advanced ore processing over time, but it's a balance of, do I want to do that more complex process for the higher output, or do I build more of the less complex process? And unfortunately, I think, well, there are solid arguments with the Pi smelting part of it. That's been around for a lot longer and has gone through several balance passes. And it's actually a genuine question for the player to answer, that it is reasonable to expect that different people will have different answers to how far they want to go down those chains at any given point in the playthrough. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff in Pi Alien Life where you're just not going to advance ever. And in particular, if it's sped up. But a lot of that is driven by the bullshit of Alien Life just in general. And I think that if you remove a lot of the bullshit of Pi Alien Life in general, that more people will be more willing to do more advanced processes and actually have these, make these decisions, go through and make these decisions. Because I think a lot of it comes down to, I just don't want to engage with Pi Alien Life more. Like, why would I bother doing a more complex process in Pi Alien Life when I could just copy what I've already spent my time making? Back we go. First, solve the early game issues. We'll see how that impacts choices, decisions being made with more advanced Alien Life processes. Because I think that is genuinely a concern. That there are processes that will be skipped. I think that in general, it does need a bit of a simplification. Removal of different, slightly more complex recipes. I think that there are, unfortunately, instances where you won't go one step higher for the sake of it. There's just too many creatures and plants and fungi. There's just too many things to be constantly going back to upgrade them with each tech level. It's sort of like that with the metals as well, but at least with the metals, it feels like a decision that I'm making a bit more. Where with the Alien Life stuff, it's like, oh god, there's like 30 plus creatures and plants and fungi. Like, am I really gonna want to constantly be going and upgrading them over time? No, I'm not. So I think that there really should just be fewer upgrades. Just in general, upgrades that are impactful and meaningful and something that I would actually have to make a conscious decision about to whether or not I would do it at that given point in time. Because certainly by the late game, I'm going to be choosing to do the late game most advanced recipes that I have access to. It's definitely, it's that in-between part where it's like, why are you here? Kind of thing. Where there's like, sometimes as much as like 10 different recipes for certain creatures that exist like in the middle. And I'm like, why do all of you exist? Anyway, I came here for planter boxes, so I hope I have some. There are. Cool. Planter boxes and iron. But we're gonna be working on this build next time because we have reached the end of the stream. It is that time. I have managed to rant and rave for 3 hours successfully. My goodness. My goodness. We have survived another stream. What did we do today? We got manure. We've like worked on scaling the moss. The big thing is we got manure and Zogna and urea and yeah, that's about it really. Manure, Zogna, urea, melamine. Wherever I put melamine. Somewhere. I don't see it off the top here. It probably way up here. Melamine, right there. And yeah, so that means that next time we're gonna be scaling Moondrop, or getting Moondrop on the train network at scale quote unquote 5 per second, so that I can then have a methane factory, so that I can do a formaldehyde factory, so that I can do a melamine resin factory, all as part of what will eventually be a Formica factory. But first, let's not forget, I will also need a treated wood factory and a raw fiber production area and fiberboard production. We'll need all of those things too. And all of that just for PCB tier 1s. And I haven't even started thinking about, I can do plastic now. I have the melamine. I can import melamine and make plastic out of melamine. So I also have the ability to go and do antimony oxide, so that I'll have antimony for the lead antimony alloy as part of batteries. I could do batteries next, if I want to. So we could do everything now that's part of circuits, essentially. Once we get through this, like we are in the process right now of working on circuits. This is circuit stuff now. We are firmly in circuit stuff now. A lot of the previous stuff is more, it's pretty universally used. Has other purposes, particularly melamine into plastic. Plastic has more universal uses. But yeah, we are actually gonna get circuits soon. Wow. Holy moly. That's... sheesh. Soon enough. Soon enough. It's gonna be a couple more weeks. But we'll get there. Circuits are not the end of the process for getting into all the stuff on rails. We're not done with our rail transition just because we got circuits. No, this whole process to get the circuits is just to make it so that it's going to be easier for me to automate infrastructure in my mall. This is just to help with automating infrastructure in my mall. Help with it. It's still going to be pretty slow to get the infrastructure and to have it pre-built in the mall, so I don't have to be constantly handcrafting these buildings all the time. Once we get this, I have to start working on the science. I need the automation science, I need the Pi Science 1, and I need the logistics science on the train network. And all of the stuff to make them, including all the mechanical parts stuff. Like, each of these things, it's going to be its own factory, its own separate factory, which also, yes, means we will need fish on the train network. So there's still a lot left. And I need the chromium, and I need the nichrome, and all the other stuff. There's, like, still metals that need to be put on. And only Once all of that is done, and I can say that I am now working on getting into Pi Science 2, will I say that we are done with our transition? The point at which I can delete the entire main bus is the point that I will say that we are done with this rail transition, which is why I have said in my titles that this is going to take an infinite number of streams. This is why we are now on stream 11 out of infinity. Because it's going to probably take at least 11 more. I was not kidding when I said that it would take longer to do this transition than the time it took to get here in the first place. And it's probably going to be a factor 2 times longer before we really move on. But a lot of this is new processes with larger scale than we've seen before. There are new things here, new processes in general, or at the very least things that we're doing at much larger scale with more advanced logistics than we've done before. It's no longer a dinky main bus build. This is the real McCoy. This is the plans for mid phase of the game. Plans mid to late phase of the game. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. I'm gonna delay for another minute or so that Twitch ads finish playing, and I guess the YouTube ones started at some point too, but yeah, we're working forward. This process, I said, is supremely mind-numbing. I'm going to be complaining about it the entire time. But you know, we have reached the end of the stream. Hello. Welcome to the very end, as I'm wrapping things up here. We've gotten our manure, we've gotten urea, zogna, melamine. I'll be scaling stuff if my head and brain can actually work and actually like push through burnout to do it. I need to build this. I need to do this in between streams and scale some of the other stuff, but anyway. That's gonna be that. 1, 0. Hello, Twitch. You've reached the end. Thank you all for watching. This has been Otaku Shiba. If you've enjoyed the stream, do all the social stuff down below. I will be back with more on Sunday, and I hope to see you all then.